So, when you hear about a domain name selling for some crazy amount of money, what do you think of? For most of us, it kind of feels like digital trading cards, doesn't it? You buy low, you hope to sell high, it's all just speculation. But what if that entire way of thinking is just wrong?
Today we're going to dig into a pretty radical philosophy, inspired by one person that just completely flips how we value a domain. We're going to stop asking, hey, what did it sell for? And we're going to start asking a much bigger question. What does it replace?
To really get this, we have to kind of jump in a time machine and go back to the very beginning of the digital land grab. We're talking the mid-1990s, a time when the digital world, well, it looked nothing like it does today.
30 years ago, most people thought the internet was just a fad. It's hard to even wrap your head around that now, right? But that's the world where a guy named Rick Schwartz, known as the DomainKing, started to see things completely differently. He had this whole new vision for what a domain name could actually be.
While pretty much everyone else just saw simple web addresses, he saw the building blocks of a whole new economy. He wasn't just looking at text on a screen, he was basically mapping out the future corner lots of the busiest digital streets the world would ever see.
And this whole vision is built on a philosophy he calls the replacement cost model. Now, this isn't about comparing one domain sale to another. No. It's about comparing a domain to the massive, real-world things it can make totally obsolete.
And this, right here, this is the core idea. A great domain's value isn't tied to what the market is doing or what sold yesterday. Its true value is in the cost, the work, and all the infrastructure that it makes unnecessary. Let's take a look at what that actually means.
Okay, to make this really concrete, let's start with the most physical, tangible example you can think of, a brick-and-mortar business.
Just think about what it costs to build and open just one physical department store. You're looking at an estimated $50 million. That's for the land, the building, all the stuff inside, the insurance, and that's before you even spend another $1 million every single month just to keep the lights on. Now, a single powerful domain name can replace that entire $50 million structure. It can reach the whole planet 24/7 with almost none of that overhead. The domain is the store, it is the prime location, and it's the global marketing campaign, all rolled into one. Okay, so we've seen a domain replace a physical building, but what about replacing an entire company? Let's look at a name like artificialoptimization.com.
See, this name doesn't just point to a website. It actually replaces the need for a whole traditional AI consulting firm. The name itself just has instant authority. It's like owning the front door to a business that already exists in people's minds, but you get to skip the rent, the payroll, and the risk. We've gone from replacing land to replacing companies. So what's the next step? This is where it gets even more profound. Replacing human labor itself.
A name like agenticai.com, well, it's pointing to that next phase of AI, where you have these autonomous agents that manage all your workflows. It replaces the very act of delegating tasks. You don't have to assign things anymore. The system is the agent. And this shows a really key evolution in how we value digital real estate. We're going from replacing land to replacing labor. So far, we've focused on replacing things we can kind of wrap our heads around. Buildings, companies, labor. But this whole philosophy goes even deeper, into the abstract worlds of culture, community, and identity.
Take a name like Janeiro.ai. This just feels different, right? It's got a sense of place, a cultural vibe to it. So, what is a name like this replacing? It replaces what used to take years and years of complicated branding and international expansion. So for a tech startup that's born in Rio de Janeiro, this name is like an instant cultural passport to the rest of the world. Instead of building all these regional offices to get an identity, the name itself becomes the bridge.
In this concept, it stretches even further when we get into the world of Web3. Here, the assets are even more conceptual, which means what they replace is even bigger. A name like lat.eth isn't just another version of a .com.
A single ENS name, like this, can replace the whole concept of national borders on the decentralized web. It gives a single, unified digital identity for an entire geographic region, Latin America. It replaces massive layers of marketing, of branding, of community coordination, all of it just condensed into 3 letters.
And for our final example, let's look at one that's both really simple and incredibly powerful. This name tells you a whole story the second you read it. Wallet.charity replaces an entire global payment gateway just for charitable giving. It gets rid of all the corporate friction, it cuts out transaction fees, and it promises direct impact. It turns philanthropy into code. Its value comes directly from that complex, expensive system it just made completely obsolete.
So we've seen a domain replace a building, a company, human labor, marketing, and even financial systems. There's a single, powerful concept that ties all of this together. This idea is economic compression, and it's the ultimate payoff of this replacement cost philosophy. Domains aren't just addresses. They are the act of condensing entire business models, all their infrastructure, their labor, their identity, into a single, powerful, and instantly understandable asset.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. This is why Rick Schwartz is so insistent on calling this method math, not speculation. You're not gambling on some future price. You are calculating the immense right-now value of all the costs you get to avoid and all the authority you gain instantly.
So the next time you type a web address, don't just see the letters. Just stop and ask yourself, what massive structure, what complex system, what years of effort is this name really replacing? The answer might be worth a whole lot more than you think.